This is American Dumpster Fire.
That's your president being introduced at G7, and it seems so accurate.
That was an audio atrocity.
That was exactly what it sounds like.
Was that a
when
high
Trump
school
walks into the
band?
room.
What was that?
I don't know. I think it's just the reaction to Trump being there.
Oh, by the way, I'm Odin.
I'm Loki,
I'm Tier.
and this is American Dumpster Fire, and that was fitting, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that was a fitting intro for us. I mean, I have another intro.
In our
before that, but-
inaugural episode, we kind of, vented and riffed and opened up. But this time we've read a few news items.
Well, look, I just want to address a few things. Like, I was reading that in a new Pentagon report, it blames Trump for the return of ISIS in Syria and Iraq.
Blames him how?
I think just the weak leadership and I mean he keeps claiming that they've been beaten, that ISIS is no more, and that's just blatantly not true. And it's just like, I don't know.
Well, even if
When
it's
you-
true to reform under another name.
But when you deny the existence of evil, it begs for its breeding, doesn't it? I mean,
Maybe so.
I mean, this war's gone on way over a decade at this point. I mean, I think we've gone through 3 groups at this point.
there's a few things like they blamed his rapidly drawing down troops before we were ready, pulling diplomatic staff. There's just so many.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of diplomacy in the administration right now.
Not like he is at all in any way diplomatic.
I
Right.
hate being in the role of a devil's advocate, but what is a good exit? What is a good strategy at this point? What
Okay.
is the objective?
So let's at least put it this way: the room is on fire, and you just walk out. Was that the way to handle it? We're just gonna go hang out in the living room until the rest of the house burns down.
I don't know why we're. I mean,
You know what I'm
Afghanistan
saying?
I got, but Iraq I don't
I
get.
think that without really even delving into that, you can say that being arrogant and taunting is not the way to handle
Oh my
hostile
God!
groups.
Well, yeah. And did you see that too? By the way, Trump taunting Iran.
No.
Oh, dear
We are
God.
in no way responsible for this, specific launch failure. Like we were responsible for it.
Did we do a stuck net and now he's like spilling the beans?
Like, first off, nobody should be giving him classified information. He's too stupid to handle it.
Oh my God.
Sure.
So, why? We know better by now. Just hand him some crayons and tell him to shut the fuck up. So, but it's not just him, is it? There's so many people around him that are just as stupid and awful.
If you're talking about the cronies that he put in position, yes.
Like,
But there are plenty of people more intelligent than him who are trying to puppet him.
yes, but he just somehow found the most dumb and evil people all at once.
But you
he
can't
definitely
puppet a
has
toddler.
surrounded himself with
You
evil
can't.
people.
So,
But evil enablers too. Like he's
Well, if they're going to pass his
so
agenda.
blatant about the corruption and the illegal things that are happening. They're not even trying to hide it anymore.
like out in the open, pitching his resort in Miami for the next location of G7, which is blatantly illegal for him to do. But nobody's ever going to do anything. They're not
Nobody's
gonna
going to
stop
do
him.
something.
Well,
And in
conflict.
fact, I remember
Did he sell off all his businesses like he's supposed to?
No, he hasn't
No.
done anything he's supposed to. He's literally using the presidency to make money.
Yeah.
He has, and from the very beginning, like Kellyanne Conway just did this, like right as soon as he was elected. Like people were starting
Yeah, they're
to talk
selling his
about,
family's
his
clothes
his
and
was it his daughter's
yeah.
line or whatever, and she's like literally
Are people buying that?
in an interview telling people to go out and buy her stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so blatantly not legal.
Right.
And yet she's sitting there like
Nothing's been done.
using his presidency as a platform to sell his fucking shit. You know, like
Right.
it's
I mean, is that much
Awful.
different than when he was on the TV show?
The Apprentice?
Yes.
Well, yeah, but the difference
This is
is
a far scarier
is
season of The Apprentice. I will
he
tell you
works
that.
for us now, and he's not allowed to do this.
I don't think he agrees with that.
He
Well,
clearly
no, and neither
doesn't,
do
but
his
that's
idiots
the
that voted
problem.
for him.
And the problem is that no one is doing anything about any of it.
Nope. Yeah, there's absolutely.
I mean, isn't that the you could, that phrase could go to any issue? I mean,
The coyotes are running the chicken coop. You know, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
and it's just it's allowed now. So, like, if I don't know, if we don't hold the president responsible for stuff, do the rest of us really need to follow the law? Should we really? Can we just ignore it now? Is that okay?
well, we're further down in the pyramid.
Can't I?
We have people
can't
above
I?
us.
But can't I get to court and be like, yeah, but you don't hold the president responsible for anything, so why should I be held responsible for anything?
No, because apparently all of the sudden we now treat this like you hold McDonald's employees accountable for more than you do the president themselves.
Right? Yeah.
Or not
Well,
to
he can't
shit on
be
not to shit on
held for a
McDonald's
crime.
employees, but I'm saying like any average, entry level worker
But
is being held accountable for more than we hold our president accountable for.
That-
Because I guarantee to you that anybody in any kind of blue collar job could not get away with half of the shit this man's
oh
doing.
hell no.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Well, he
to cut
doesn't
you
have to
off.
answer to his term's over. Didn't we pass that as unwritten law? That's not a law, but somehow is a law.
That's the corrupt governing the corrupt.
Well,
you
it
know.
used to be a courtesy in the past for one president to not convict the crimes of the last one. Just let it go. Let's move on because that's operating business. There's going to be a few infractions. La da da da. But have we ever had an example like this?
No.
Ever?
And this is the elites covering the elites' asses. I'm sorry, but every one of them should be held to a higher standard than the rest of us. If you're going to be a leader, you need to man up or whatever you want to call it, and be held to a higher standard.
Right. That's
I'm just
exactly
waiting for him
the
to pardon
point. Is
himself.
like, at what point did we say that these people who are running our country, who are supposed to be held accountable to further
To who?
the
Congress?
no, to the people.
Yeah,
Oh,
Like,
that's
they
not
are-
happening.
They are supposed to be representing us. They're supposed to be working in the best interest of the people, and that has been blatantly disregarded. Nobody's even attempting to make it look like that's what they're doing anymore,
Yeah, it's just
and yet nobody cares. Like, why does nobody care?
Because what are you going to do?
nobody's going to do anything. Nobody's going to do anything.
Protest doesn't work anymore.
We tell Congress and Senate we want you to handle this, and what do? The people don't really want us to do anything about Trump. No, the people really do want you to do something about it.
The vast majority
Well, not the
really
people
want
on the
you
news
to do
stations he's
something about
watching.
it.
So, well, I'm talking about Nancy Pelosi
Well-
saying that she doesn't want us to prosecute Trump,
Nancy
or
Pelosi
the people don't want.
needs to go.
And
I'm sorry, she needs to go.
I'm
Yeah.
like, who the fuck told you we don't want you to do something? Who?
Legit, no
Who
one.
said that?
No, sorry, she's
Well,
sold
yeah,
out. She needs to go.
I do not understand that. And I see a lot of different talking heads and political figures come on Bill Maher and other shows of that type. And yeah, I get they're whatever. But when they're speaking honestly and it's like, hey, are you guys going to prosecute this? Are you going to follow up on this? Are you going to try and, whatever? And they're always like, yeah, we're just going to beat them in the next election. I'm like, do you know how much damage could be done between now and then?
Do you know how
Mm-hmm.
much infectious corruption has gone on? I don't trust that the elections are safe. I don't trust
Oh, yeah.
that
Diebold's can be hacked. We
can or are.
Well, we've shown that it's possible. They've shown that you can do it with the flash drive. You can do it all kinds of different ways.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a can. I think they are hacked. I don't think your vote counts for shit because I don't trust our election system.
Well,
we need
we-
to go to paper ballots, and we need to ditch the electoral college.
Well, going
the
back to
electoral
Bush and
college
Gore,
has got to go. Not
time
only
for it to
that,
go.
but how many times did we see blatant voter restrictions in the last?
Oh my God!
oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
Utter corruption.
What's the word I'm looking for? Interference.
Yeah.
Like shutting down.
Mostly in the southern
polls,
states.
Having one working machine at a location where people couldn't afford to sit there all day and not go to
and
work.
you don't see that happening in the rural areas. You only see it happening in the urban areas. So they make sure that the urban area doesn't have enough machines.
Yeah, anybody
But
who
the
votes
rural
blue
area-
or has too
Right.
many African Americans.
So,
right.
yeah,
Anybody
Democrats
who's voting
happen
for
to-
someone liberal is not going to be able to vote.
Oh, Democrats tend to live in the cities,
But-
so
but
let's make sure cities don't
Let's
have
not
enough.
forget the what was it? A milk truck filled with overseas early
Absentee
ballot
ballots?
yeah, absentee ballots from veterans
Mm-hmm.
found in Florida swamps.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole Bush Gore thing. That might have well tipped it.
I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
This
Republicans are utterly corrupt. They
it's,
can't be trusted.
It's awful. Like there, and here's my
Well,
thing.
gerrymandering tells you that.
The it needs to be buckled down. I mean, if this is truly a democracy, this is the one thing that we should be caring about more than anything else. The Electoral College needs to go. It is not representing the little person.
Hell
It
no.
is representing the minority vote. Not the minority vote. You know what I'm saying? Like it's representing rural areas where there's less population. Yeah, maybe so, but your cows don't get a vote.
Well,
Your
yeah.
grass doesn't get a vote. People
Well, yeah,
get
you're
a vote.
talking about the weighing where, like, what was it? California has like as much population as the entire Midwest or some crap.
Right, I think
Well,
that
yeah, if-
California and New York have more votes than like the whole rest of the country, right? Like, I mean,
Physically,
number-wise.
but the fact is
So,
that
like, yeah.
your if you live in like what is it, Minnesota or Wisconsin or something like that, your vote counts has three times the weight that your vote does if you live in California.
Because
So-
of electoral votes.
So
yeah.
yeah,
Right.
so one vote is worth one vote in Minnesota or whatever is worth 3 votes in California. That's bullshit.
it
But
is bullshit.
It should be one person, one
That
vote.
is not democracy.
But I want to get back to what I was saying before, in that, let's beat him at the polls. No, because here's the thing that we forget. We said he could never win. And after all that's going on, everyone's like, well, he can't win again. Have you learned nothing?
Right, he already did once. And all this tampering
So I'm saying is, you can talk ethics.
Yeah, you
can
can't
talk
trust this.
morality. How about strategy? Prosecute him.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to run against him.
Well, first up, we need to change the laws of who can run and who cannot.
Oh,
you know,
God.
we do not need a felon running for office. We do not need somebody under FBI investigation running for office.
Wait.
No, I'm not saying he's a
Okay.
felon, but I'm saying there's really nothing stopping you if you're a felon from running for office.
Did not.
In some
even
states, you
think of
can't
that.
even vote if you're a felon, but
No,
you can
that's
run
true.
for president.
Most states.
Seriously?
Yep.
No, I think there definitely has to be more criteria, and if we have learned nothing else since 2016, that is it. There has to be some criteria aside from being old enough to run for president.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
And honestly, the old enough thing is kind of bullshit
It is.
because there are a lot more younger people that are far more mature than the older people in office. you
I
know?
agree.
I just would
I
like
trust
some
a
scientific
millennial
literacy.
over a baby boomer any day.
I agree with that too. No, I mean the tampering needs to be taken more seriously too, though. I think that the second that you are caught with any kind of tampering in your jurisdiction, the election needs to be completely wiped and started over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like no,
Yeah, we can't tolerate that.
no, there should be absolutely no situation where somebody is elected in a county where there was blatant tampering and they actually like win based on that.
And I
That is
think that
not
it should be
okay.
considered treason for someone to tamper with the election.
I
And it
completely
should be
agree
God,
with that.
yes.
And it should be an act of war if an outside country tampers with the election.
I agree with
At
that
the
as
very
well.
least, like tariffs and all kinds of stringent, strict whatever. I mean, I'm not sure that we want to go on a
We have
nuclear
the ability.
exchange or anything.
No, but we have the ability to shut any internet exchange between our country and say Russia down. We can shut it off.
When they just get through other countries that are still turned on.
Keep shutting it down till it stops.
I mean, the internet's not as easy to localize as you
It doesn't
suggest.
matter. What if you shut it down for one election day?
Right, just long enough to get it handled.
Yeah.
But if we went to paper ballots, you don't have to worry about that.
Do
Well,
we though?
not
I was
only
just
that,
mentioning this,
like
the ones found in the swamp. I mean, what about the hanging
That's true.
chads things where
But
they were
tha-
just
that's why-
indeterminately making up crap?
But that's why we need for there to be representative of each party in each scenario. There should be, and first off, I don't see why the votes have to be carried from one location to another. They settle on a main location, period, whatever, count them right at the polling station or something, and it should be video. I mean, this should be the most secure thing ever.
Yeah, we need some way of having an impartial party that isn't volunteer-based, which I still don't understand.
You don't need impartial, though, if both people are watching. If both parties are watching, if you have a Republican
You can have one
or
paid
all
off.
of them,
I mean, that doesn't mean anything.
So, I mean,
No, I mean I think you're right. I think that these politicians have a vested interest in making sure that this election was fair. If they are all present at the counting,
and if you're not concerned about it being fair, then bye.
right?
We don't
Then
need
why are you
around.
even part of this
Right.
process?
I don't know. I don't trust any part of this process as complex and as large as
That's
it's
why
become.
I like the ranked choice system that Ireland
Oh
has.
God, it's so beautiful.
So each district would count the votes live on TV. An entire day is taken for it. It can be some channel dedicated to this.
Yeah, this
We
sounds
have-
complex, but
It
it's
can be
simple.
internet.
It really is
live.
simple. It sounds like a lot.
Now,
but
what is that? 1 through 5?
However many candidates are, it doesn't matter.
But picture that you take your top vote, the guy you really want, and then you get your second one. Like, I can live with this guy, and the third one, yeah, if I have to. And after that, you're like, I can't do it. I can't put the rest of
You
them
can
down. So
put
you
as
don't.
many or as few as you want to number next to you.
Right, and
And
whoever
then-
gets the most
but,
votes.
But here's the brilliant part, right? So once that's all done, it's all done in front of TV, like on TV,
right.
with people watching to make sure that the count is true. That when somebody says, Bill Bilson, 1 for Bill Bilson, somebody else gets to see that's true, 1 for Bill Bilson, and it goes in his box, and so on and so forth. Like, the people can see it's true.
But the beauty of this system is you can now have third, fourth, fifth, seventh parties
Right.
without it taking away from your vote. Because you're actually getting multiple votes. You get multiple chances of getting at least someone you can tolerate.
So a third-party
Right.
candidate can run and realistically
Without
possibly
tanking
win.
the other parties.
Right, and that's the important
Right,
thing.
so-
is
and
that
if your
you don't
third party-
have to worry about throwing your vote away
Right, right.
on a
Exactly.
certain party because your vote counts, and if that doesn't pan out, then your vote still goes to the next person.
Right,
And then
so
you end up with
can,
Bernie Sanders.
you can risk a third-party candidate without risking the whole
Exactly.
election. It's like, yeah, well, I like Sanders, so I'm going to vote for Sanders, even though he's not a Democrat or whatever, And then, if Sanders doesn't win, my second choice is Hillary or something like that,
Right,
or vice
exactly.
versa, I don't think she has a chance of winning, so I'll vote for him, whatever,
Well,
Right.
yeah, that's the thing. You no longer have to worry about
Right.
who has a
You
chance.
can vote for who you actually want.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
it's so simple.
And honestly, that would have turned the election around
It
entirely.
would have been a completely different outcome.
There is no freaking way that Trump would have won
He would have
if
been
we had
destroyed.
the rank choice
Yeah.
voting.
He
Not a
would have been-
chance, because there were people who refused to vote for Hillary but couldn't vote for Bernie.
Now, I got to assume that they're
And-
weighted, as it goes 1 through 5.
I
Like,
don't
there's
think so,
different point
no.
values.
I think that if your vote is no longer counted, it goes to your next candidate. You know what I'm saying?
So if your first choice is eliminated, then your vote goes to the next person.
Yeah, it goes to second
Okay.
choice, and so on and so forth. If your
I don't
second
know.
choice
You
is
still
eliminated-
could end up with Trump with that.
So
I really
Even as a
don't
joke
think so.
throwaway vote. It'd be him or Mickey
Oh
Mouse.
God, no!
I think Harambe would have won.
Nobody would have.
You might be
listed him.
right.
So
Is that today's Mickey Mouse? Is
Well,
that a more
no, people
relevant
wrote in
reference?
Harambe
Harambe.
in
That's
2016. So there's so much corruption. Everything's a lie, right? Oh, Melania speaks French, and then we find out that she's like having to listen to the translator.
Why do we care about that?
Melania and and Kim Jong Un have gotten to know each other so well. Melania's never met Kim Jong Un, nor has she ever talked to him.
I mean,
Like,
it's funny to me, but I don't know why we care.
Why does he have to lie about everything?
Okay,
he
now
does
that's
lie
right.
about
Goddamn
everything.
thing. It has to be a
he's,
fucking
he's
lie.
pathological, and truthfully, I don't think that he knows what the truth is. I also
Might
don't
be
think
senile idiot.
he knows a damn thing about Melania.
Well, he
Correct
knows
me
that
if
he
I'm
thinks he's
wrong.
awesome.
But I think he knows what she looks like and doesn't know anything else about her.
Yeah, I mean it's an image marriage. That's really all it is.
I'm pretty sure she hates him.
yeah,
I
So
mean, he's
yeah.
had time since he got her for her catalog.
I don't think they've
What?
ever.
He's had time since he ordered her.
I don't think they've ever had sex. I don't
They
believe
have
any
a
of them.
child.
Yeah, doesn't mean they had sex.
That's true. No, I think that they can't. Well, I think that at the very least she can't stand him, and I don't think he knows a damn thing about her.
She certainly. I mean,
so
did
maybe
you see
he
The hand holding that was great.
Or, no, so he's patting his leg to call her to him.
Are you
like in the one
serious?
thing-
Oh
yeah, yeah.
my god!
Like a dog. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I would have socked him right there in front of the cameras.
Right? Oh God, no, he'd kill her.
Wow,
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Yeah, he'd strangle her to death or something
Oh
like that.
yeah, I'm
He's
sure
evil.
he'd kill her.
that's messed up.
So yeah, no, she can't step out of line, but at the same time, I don't think she likes a single thing about that man. And the fact that Trump is saying that she speaks French or has met Kim Jong, I don't think he knows. I truly don't think he knows
Yeah, he just
anything
makes
about
up
her.
shit. She has to go
Money,
along with it.
something, because she hasn't divorced him.
He pretends that
Money.
because she can't.
Why? Is she gonna lose her green card?
No, while they're in office, he would kill her.
Maybe
if she
that's
tried
why
to
he's
leave.
so hell bent.
Her life
on,
has been threatened. There is no way she's with him out
May-
of desire.
Maybe that's
and
why
it's the money.
Maybe that's why he's so hell bent on ending the immigration thing, so she can't divorce him. Because if she does, he'll just have her deported. I don't put it past him to be that evil.
Where is she from?
Some Eastern European
I'd have to
country.
look it up, but yeah.
I
So
don't know that
who cares to
deportation
stand?
is worth staying with Trump.
I don't think so either.
No, I
go
don't
back
care where
there.
she's going back to. It's probably the better choice.
I mean, you want to live on Borat's farm?
So yeah, no, I don't think that it's a huge deal that she can't speak French. Like nobody cares, but at the same time, I don't think he knows. I don't think he truly knows anything about her.
I don't know. Like sometimes I'm like I feel bad for her, and sometimes I'm like she signed up for it.
I know.
You
I'm
know?
the same way. Like
So yeah, it's so hard to determine.
I don't know. We just want to comment on the literal dumpster fire of modern age.
Oh, by the way, we're somewhere near 12,000 lies out of Trump himself.
That's amazing.
Not just the administration. 12,000 lies documented.
not even remotely surprising. It's not. Like everything out of that man's mouth is.
So.
Like I think that early on in the presidency, like there were like I would have these jaw drop moments, like this really just happened, and like the world has kept spinning, you know. And like
Right.
now you're like, whatever. It's Tuesday.
Yep.
This is Trump we're talking about.
I
You
can
know,
count on
like
at least
we've
10
all-
lies today.
We've all like lost any kind of shock factor at the the just ridiculousness that's coming out of our government. I'm speechless. I
Oh my
have
God,
nothing.
he's turned America into a pair of clown shoes.
Legit. Like we are the laughing stock of the freaking world right now.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. I was just looking to switch gears.
Rightfully
I feel
so.
like this is winding down, and then I don't know how much bashing we want to do on this in one episode. But
Trump.
But my point is that I didn't want to lean one way or another. But yeah, we're all liberal to some degree. And as we were just prepping to go on the air, just moments beforehand, I saw a breaking article. And what is it? A mass shooting. And everyone's probably tired and almost bored of this. But get this. So there are 10 shot, I don't know how many dead yet, in Midland, Texas, and then 20 more in Odessa, thought to be by the same perpetrator, possibly 2 of them. And then they said they got one in a movie theater, and another one stole a USPS truck, and is apparently going around in circles. That's as much as I know at this point.
Awesome.
These are 2 new shootings today.
Yeah, right before we went on air.
They're not.
There's no correlation, by the way, guys. None.
between us going on air.
No, but my point is, it's not just coincidental. It's almost tiresome. It's almost not news.
Which is horrifying if you think about it.
Yeah,
it's horrifying.
this should not be normalized at this point, honestly.
It totally is, though. I mean, we had 3 in
That's
a period of
because
1 week.
They're
And
like
that was,
everyday
what, 2
things
weeks
now.
ago?
We've had more shootings than days in 2019, right?
Yeah. And I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
also
It's
how you
close.
define mass
Are we
shootings.
setting a precedence by allowing so many of them to live through the mass shooting?
So
Are
the
we-
numbers are skewed depending on what you look at. And I personally define a mass shooting as indiscriminate targets for whatever agenda. Okay, so in other words, it's not like you killed your family or a bunch of friends or whatever. You went somewhere just to cause chaos.
I
That's how
disagree.
I define it. But I think technically you can define it as 3 or 4
Even
people.
if you targeted.
By his definition, though, it's over 90% Republican or conservative doing the mass shootings, by his definition.
And that's well and good, but I'm just going to say this, that if you go somewhere targeting a woman because she turned you down or whatnot.
Well,
and
it's
then
still
you
crime. It's just a different kind of crime.
No, my point is, and you go there and you kill multiple people because it wouldn't be called a mass shooting if you only killed the one. Then my point is that this is still pointing to a poisonous society.
Sure.
It is still
It's still a
pointing
problem.
to the same kind of issues that's caused by what you would call a traditional mass shooting versus, somebody who's specifically pinpointing someone.
Which is really domestic terrorism is what we should
Yeah,
define
it
as.
should be called domestic terrorism, but really, like a lot of it, it seems like the
Homegrown.
cause is a deadly level of entitlement. Like these guys
Well,
it's
these
think
are
that
angry,
they're
boiling it
disenfranchised.
down,
they're
yeah,
entitled
I
to
suppose.
a piece of ass, or entitled to this woman, they're
Oh,
entitled
God,
to that
the
They're
job, they're
entitled
entitled
to.
It
They
is so
think they're
gross.
entitled to everything.
Yeah,
is
it's-
basically what it boils
and their
down to.
entitlements are like being denied any of these entitlements sets them off, and then they go on these violent rampages and stuff. And it's absolutely insane. Like
It's
well,
like
I mean,
this.
Of course, it's insane.
And
You have
here's
to be
the
insane
thing:
to kill
is they're
people.
pretty much all male, right? They're all pretty much all
They
white
are all
males.
male, and they're almost
Largely
all white
Caucasian,
male, yeah.
largely male.
And here's the thing: is that it's this
largely conservative.
It's this
Largely
epidemic
between,
of
what, 20 and
masculine
40?
masculine
35?
fragility that have led him to this point where they think that they are owed
Something like that.
something more than life
Yeah.
is handing them, and that they're going to take it out on the world.
Well, they're realizing that the American dream is a dream.
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
It's something that we're sold, that we all try to strive towards.
Well, it was something
And
that
it's fine to
existed at
have a
one
goal.
point.
But
I
the
don't think
fact
it
is
did.
that we all believe we can achieve Leave It to Beaver. You know,
Well,
white
in the
picket
50s,
fence.
maybe we could.
Well,
Nice,
that's the other thing. They're
tuna-
blaming the
However-
wrong
story
people,
and a half.
though. They're blaming the wrong people. They're
Of
blaming
course,
the,
of course,
They're blaming
but
the
anger's
poor. They're
anger.
blaming the Jewish. They're blaming the black. They're blaming the
Oh,
kids. They're blaming
Millennials,
the
the
millennials.
liberals.
They're blaming
yeah.
everybody, but who's actually responsible for
Yeah.
the Leave It to Beaver dream not being true? The wealthy.
Right, exactly. In the late 70s, the government has started like decades ago funneling all the wealth to the top. This trickle down bullshit and everything else.
Deregulation is a major player in that. It really is, of changing where the money's going. I
Yeah.
mean, we're having so many different monopolies and all the.
The current state of capitalism in America is a vacuum cleaner sucking all of the money to
That's
the
what I'm
top.
saying. It's small things
Exactly.
all meant to
Exactly.
stimulate
That's
the
a great
economy, but it's
analogy.
doing it in different places than is actually beneficial.
There, with the way things are working right now, there's an end date. There's an expiration date on our way of life.
Well, it's,
400%.
yeah,
You're
it's
correct.
like a Roman Empire issue.
And that's the thing, is that this is something that was literally changed at some point. I believe the politicians at the time knew what they were doing and just probably didn't realize the effects that it would have. But I mean, this is the
I
result.
mean,
it's
we had
short-
just lived through a major economic collapse when we realized we got to stop the way this works because it all goes one direction, then it all falls apart. And we were trying to stop the way the way that happened. And sometime
Are we
around
talking
the
about housing
70s,
crisis,
early
2008?
80s, or whatever, we're like, oh no, it's fine. We can do without all that regulation. And now we're getting right back into the same
Well, that was
position.
right
we're
after the
going
savings
right
loan
back
scandal.
to a new Great Depression.
This exactly, and this level of favoring corporations over people is
Oh
it's
God, Citizens United.
poisonous. It's poisonous.
Yeah.
This is not a democracy. It is not a democracy at all anymore. Those changes that started way back then have completely restructured this country into something that is not
Well,
what
your
it was ever
Typical
intended to
answer
be.
is bootstraps and all that. You know, it's a meritocracy, but it really isn't if there isn't an equal playing field. And when everything is being siphoned in one direction, you're on a slippery slope. You're not going to be able to get a lot of traction.
I mean, and it's not a meritocracy. The worst of us rise to the top. The
Well-
ones who are willing to lie, cheat, and steal make it
Well,
because
those with leg ups
th-
already.
so those of you obeying the law,
those who can
and doing
buy
the right thing,
their way into college.
those of you obeying the law and doing the right thing are not going to survive.
I mean, we that was just in the news cycle, just a month out or whatever. I mean, it keeps coming back up, but you know,
Yeah,
they're they're on the crew team.
right, yeah.
I mean, how many people do you
Well,
do you
some,
have on crew without
some
anyone
colleges
noticing?
give you points for being a legacy. That your parents went there, so you get extra points for going there yourself. So you have a better chance of getting into school because,
Is studiousness genetic?
like, oh well.
I mean, I'm sorry, but you will never convince me that Trump earned a degree on his own.
Oh
Fuck
hell
no.
no!
You
And then
will
I don't know if it's true
never
or not, but I read that
convince
one of
me.
his professors said he was the dumbest student he'd ever had.
I would buy that.
I don't know if it's true, but I read an article
He
saying
can't string a
that.
sentence together.
Oh yeah, no, I mean
Oh,
it's word
God.
salad.
It is. It literally sounds like you used the what is that autocomplete or whatever.
You
to
just
create-
keep
That
it-
is hilarious.
keep it in
Yeah.
the next
That's a
button.
fun game if no one's played. Just
The presidency shouldn't sound like that though.
no, but you
Yeah,
get out
you
your phone,
just-
get ready to text someone, put
You
in
type
any
in
word,
3 words,
any
and
word,
then
and just
auto-
hit that middle button
the-
over and over again.
Legitimately, I think it was John Oliver actually did it. He took a Trump paraphrase, like a phrase that Trump actually said, and then used the
That's
autopredict on, and he was like, "Okay, now you guys tell me which one is which." They were freaking identical.
You know what's funny is I saw this happen before Trump came around. Not
It also
it
tells you
wasn't
what
Trump
words you
that
use
did
a
it.
lot.
Sarah Palin sounded the exact same way.
There were several times where I had seen Sarah Palin
She
quotes.
actually sounded more coherent to me.
Dude,
No, it's
and
word
I'm
salad.
Like, there were several times she said something, and I'm like, she did not say that. And I would look it up, and I'm like, oh my god, she said that.
Yeah, no, there was this one
Like, it's
speech where it was
crazy.
like word salad.
Well, a lot of
And I'm
it's
like, she has to be
backpedaling.
drunk. No. I think it was like drugs or alcohol or something. Like they never discovered.
She just said off the wall.
It sounded
shit.
like it just sounded like word salad. I'm looking at her. I'm like, I think she's drunk or high or something. It's got to be that because you don't just come up with this word salad like that out of the blue. I mean, unless she had a stroke on stage or something.
So getting back to the mass shootings,
I mean, but why? There's going to be another one tomorrow, guys. I'm sorry.
Can we have some
sorry,
common
but
sense
it's
registration
true.
or something?
Well, okay, you want to get into that?
I do.
Trump said we got to start like limiting the access to the guns and everything like that. Talks to the NRA, completely backpedals on it. You know?
Shocking.
And it's like, yeah, okay, we didn't see that fucking coming. In fact, most of us never banked on any kind of regulation ever happening because we knew it would happen just the way it did. We knew
He's
that he would
backpedaling
talk to
on
the
something he
NRA
said cents ago.
and nothing would happen.
I mean, they're paying for him,
So-
so
Yeah, no, it's like, we spent a lot of money on you. You're not
I've
going to
actually
change anything.
right.
heard,
the NRA
and I wish I had in front of
has
me,
paid
but-
too many politicians for any of that shit to pass right now.
They're saying that the majority of gun owners themselves
Yeah.
at this point do not support the NRA.
Yeah, like 78% or something like that, yeah. Yeah, it's a high number.
Their stance on these issues.
But that's why I said that I think that we all have to join the NRA and convert their
Do they
creed.
have to listen to your vote?
Yeah, they do. I mean, if there's enough
I mean,
of
it's a
you.
private organization. It's not like, I mean, couldn't they just
I
do
don't
whatever
think
they
they're
want?
listening to anybody.
Kind of like a union, really, but
Yeah.
They're kind of like a church, really.
Yeah, that's what I'm
God,
thinking.
yeah. They definitely shouldn't be tax exempt if they are, but they probably are. They're probably considered a nonprofit.
But that's all I'm saying. It's
Ugh.
like we get rid of all this private sale crap because that's insane to me.
I agree.
Yeah, I was arguing with somebody
Or
about
at
how
least-
easy it was to get a gun, and then I went to a what do you call them, a flea market,
Right.
and found working guns I could have bought right there on the
No,
spot.
I
for
wouldn't have
fairly
a problem
cheap.
with.
Right.
Okay, I bought a car off a friend, and I had to go to this small, crappy office, but that was staffed by, a government worker who probably wanted to die, and a small closeted room with bad lighting. It was very depressing, and probably didn't have a lot of oversight. But there was a little card I had to fill out, and we both had to sign it, and I was able to take possession of it. It was that simple.
And I think that that's
Right.
legitimately all
Can we do that with
most
guns?
people are looking for. Like, truly. I mean,
Just
and
the
I know that
smallest of effort?
conservatives love to jump to this, oh my God, small children were killed, you can't have my gun. You know, like,
Right.
that's, and like,
Yeah, I
truly,
really thought Sandy Hook would be a changing point. I really did.
that,
Nothing will ever change.
I think that was
Well,
the-
not after that. No.
that was the ugly part of America that truly proved that we do not give a fuck about life.
Well, see, the problem
We don't.
they're afraid of is registration. They'll know I have a gun, and they'll come for us when they do a takeover.
We just assume if you're anywhere within
Like-
1,000 miles of the Mason-Dixon line,
And then I say
I was
stuff
gonna
like,
say, like, we can pretty much guess if you have a gun.
I
they,
can look at most people and know
they
they've
have
got
an
a gun.
age 64
Yeah.
Apache. They have tanks. They've got missiles.
I said I should get to have a deck cannon in my yard.
So they're going to take your guns, and they're like, and then their response is always, well, I do believe, when they turn the National Guards and various military members on us, many of them live in the area. They know us. They have family. They won't follow those orders.
The Chinese
like,
thought the same thing when
I
they
don't think that's
rolled
true.
tanks into their
I don't think
neighborhood.
that's true. You're taught to obey orders. Okay? There is a certain amount
Okay,
of
I'm just going
reprogramming
to
that
go
goes in the
ahead
military.
and point out the fact that we have people employed by the government who threw tear gas at toddlers in diapers on the
Yeah.
border.
That's true.
We've
Well,
had
and
police
not only that-
officers
Children.
hose
You-
people with,
they
with pepper
gassed
spray.
children.
hose.
And do you
Small children.
do you think they're stupid enough to send the people who live in your neighborhood that work in the military to your neighborhood? They're going to send them someplace else where they
Either
don't know the
way,
people.
if you're
Right.
banking on that and your AK to save the day, you're screwed.
Yeah,
I don't care how well staffed your
You're
bunker
going to
is.
get run over by a tank.
And so this whole anti-registration thing is stupid. It's utterly stupid.
I mean, the whole right-wing agenda is based off of stupidity, so I don't know what else.
It's
to-
no, it's phobias, it's fears, it's fear-driven.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But
You
they're the
can't put
problem.
logic to fear. It's an emotion.
I'm sorry. I don't agree that it's solely fear. I think that is utter lack of education. Like, I truly think that these people, they're incapable of considering the consequences of their actions. I think that it is just a lack of knowledge. I mean, they jump right to this idea that, oh, you're going to take my guns, and if you want to register it, blah, blah, blah. We register our vehicles. You have
Right.
to be licensed to
Yeah,
drive.
But see, a car is a privilege, not a right.
So's a gun.
Such a stupid thing.
I know. It's like, how do I get to my job? Well, you can always take public transit. Nobody wants that.
Not to
I'm
mention
sorry.
they're
Why
pulling,
is your gun more
they're
required
scaling
than a
down
car?
public transit in so many places. You know, that you can, like, I've worked plenty of jobs where public transit doesn't go between
Oh
where
my
I
God,
live
I know.
and where
Or on the
I gotta
days you
go.
need, or at the hours you need. Or
Right. Oh,
Here's
yeah. Or
my
you
other
can get there
thing.
2-3 hours early and leave 2-3 hours late. you
Right.
know.
I just think that
These
it's
people already
a,
have crappy
it's a
jobs.
lack of just common sense. And here's the other thing is that I'm not anti-gun. I think that American citizens should have the right to own one. I also think they should be registered. I think that every single weapon needs to be registered. I think that every single gun owner needs to be licensed. And I do not, by any way, think that you should be able to go to a flea market or gun sale and just pick one up without anybody knowing about it. Furthermore, I think that if your gun is taken and used in a violent crime, you should be held accountable and charged.
100%, yeah, and you should be liable for any expenses whatsoever that were incurred by your weapon.
I think
and then
you
So, like,
negligently leaving
the
a
police
gun.
doing their job to figure out the crime, the bill you for that.
everything, yes, everything. If your kid took your gun, shot up a school, you're responsible for the crime.
Jesus.
You're responsible.
Well, the kid's still
you should be.
responsible.
No, the kid's still responsible.
Yeah.
But you also, as a
Also,
bad
yes.
parent, should
A
be
negligent
responsible
parent.
for the crime, for all the money, for all the expenses incurred, for everything. Every bit of counseling they had to do on every single student should be out of your
We'd be
pocket.
bankrupt in a second.
Then make sure your kids can't get your damn guns.
Yeah, I know,
Right.
gun
Lock
cabinets.
them the fuck up. You have children. Okay, and here's my favorite argument is I see like these kids like these parents saying, "Oh, well, my kid knows better." Do you think that any parent that left their gun out where their kid could get it and shoot up a school wasn't thinking the exact same thing to themselves? My
exact
kid knows better.
words. Yeah.
Here's the other thing. Your kid knows better than to do what? Like hookers and coke. Do you leave those laying around? Do you think that if you did, you'd be considered a good parent?
If you leave hookers and coke around, just let me know.
Yeah, I don't have the hooker room.
You what? No hooker room? Is that what you said?
Yes, yes. It was Kids in the Hall reference.
Why is the door so small?
There's like a strip club room that came with the house.
I don't know.
Stupid skate, but it's
I think it's
hilarious.
utterly insane to think that you can just leave guns laying around where anybody can access them and that you are not responsible.
Now, I, other than Tier, am against guns. I love them in my video games. I love them in movies. I enjoy them as fiction. But as reality, they scare the living crap out of me.
Oh, I like guns.
Now, I would probably enjoy firing
Oh,
them.
I don't personally
Like, if I was to go to a
them.
range and pay for it and rent a gun, that sounds hella fun to me. But in an ideal world where I can wave a magic wand and take away all guns, I'd do it. I really would.
I don't want one personally,
But I'll live.
but I think that people should have the right
I would
to have
live
one.
with decent background checks,
Yeah, no,
psych exams,
Yes.
some sort of freaking common sense legislation we can get across.
I am 100% pro guns. I like guns. I should be allowed to own guns. I should have whatever.
I don't know. I can go to supermarket
here's the
and
thing.
get food. I
I-
don't need
I-
to kill deer and
I don't think that everybody should have guns. Okay, if you ever committed a violent act, no guns.
Agreed.
If
Anybody who's been reported for domestic
you've
abuse.
committed a felony, no guns. If you have psych issues, no guns.
That's a troublesome line there, friend.
Maybe.
well,
maybe it
depends
is.
it depends on the mental condition, but I mean that
agree.
should be.
I think it should be up to the psychologist.
Yeah, it's like okay.
I
look,
can live with that.
I used to
Okay.
I used to have very slight eyesight issue. It was so little I didn't need glasses to drive. Few years later, I did need glasses. I think it's like
At
that.
the discretion of your doctor and
Yes.
a vision exam. Sure.
Like, okay, is this guy a little bit neurotic? Fine. Is he a paranoid schizophrenic? Different issue.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that if a professional
That's-
decides,
yeah.
that you should
Now,
not have a gun,
but
you
that
should not have a gun.
In that instance, though, the professional may decide that your suicidal tendencies are reason enough for you not to have a gun.
Agreed.
And some people aren't going to like that, but I think it's fair.
I think it's fair as well.
I mean, I don't like guns, but I'm strongly thinking of getting one because of all the people that have them making me nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've been out, Walmart, a coffee shop, any number of places, and I see people who strap on M16s, parade themselves
Okay.
about, film themselves, and live stream to Facebook or YouTube or whatever
But
they're
see,
doing.
that's the thing. Those guys I'm talking
And they scare the crap out of me.
about. I like guns. I don't see any reason to carry it to the grocery store.
But they're wearing tactical vests. They got multiple
'Cause
guns.
they're afraid of
They
everything.
got, magazines
Truly,
on them.
what the frick do you think you're going to run into at the movie theater
they're-
No,
or
no,
the
no,
grocery
they're
store
peacocking.
or Walmart?
Yeah, no,
No, they're not. You're being a... Sorry.
they're afraid
I'm
of
not
everything.
going to
They're
say it.
afraid of their own damn shadows.
Well, these are not people
And
that I would
here's my
expect to
thing.
fight.
As
Well,
far
a
as
lot of
these-
them are punchy, you know what I mean?
These
They don't look like they could run for
it's a
4
ham
minutes.
sandwich in the other holster.
These corporations that allow it, if I walk in and see somebody armed like that, I'm walking right the fuck back out.
Oh yeah, I don't do business with companies that allow people to just hang out with guns all over themselves. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well,
Like,
I've
do you
never-
really think that you can run a company and have people walking around armed like that? Oh, and then the other thing is, there was that guy who was in Walmart, picked up a I want to say it was a BB gun, but it might have been a real gun that they
Oh, yeah,
sold
that's here in
there with the
Ohio.
intent to buy it, and someone called the cops because he was black, and they came and shot him.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
and
A
there
gun
that
was-
that they
recent.
had there.
Not- It was not that long ago, too, where police showed up to an active shooter situation, and they had to sort out who the legal open carriers
And
were.
the good guy with the gun.
And who the good guys with the guns were, and who the bad guys with the guns
Now,
were.
here's a problem.
It actually caused more problems for there being. And by the way, none of them were good guys with guns. Not a single person
Really?
did anything to stop the shooter.
Oh, I've
not
actually-
freaking one.
Yeah, I actually heard a radio interview with a caller who was talking about he was there. He had the gun, and he was too scared shitless to do anything about it, and he wasn't afraid to admit it. He was like, I've always expected if I was ever in this situation, I could help out, but, they had an automatic weapon. I had a small handgun. I couldn't see a point to really do anything that would be helpful, and I respected that because you know what the opposite end of that is? The good guy with the gun. Now picture that. Like that guy who dressed up as a Joker shot up a movie theater.
Yeah.
Say there's 1, 2, 3 good guys with a gun. There's crossfire.
Yep.
How do I know what accuracy they're trained
Well,
at?
I'm saying
These
you-
are not police
So you
officers.
start aiming a gun at the guy with the gun. You draw fire, and anybody around you is now in danger because of what you do.
Right.
Not to mention, you have to hit that guy and not the people behind him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. So if you're like, an homosexual who's got some kind of depleted uranium round or some crap,
Yeah.
I got to worry about your caliber
And you
now.
just killed the grandma behind him. Good job,
Not only that, but I also heard of an instance where there was a good guy with a gun, once again someone of color, and the police shot them
Oh, yeah,
instead of the shooter.
There's more than one of those, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, no, and there was even during that Las Vegas shooting, I think it was the band that said that they were pro-gun, they had guns, and there was no way in hell they were going to shoot back at the shooter and confuse the police as far as whether they were good guys or bad guys.
Right.
So I mean,
Well, that's
So
probably just to keep
stop the good
crazy
guy with the
fans
gun
off them.
argument. That doesn't exist. It's not real.
yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean, I'm sure 1 in 20 might be useful. I don't know.
I think that's a larger number than it really
I'm
is.
throwing
I'd
out numbers
say
out of my
Weighted.
asshole. I
1
don't know.
in 200.
But who knows? I'm
At
sure there's
most.
always a good
Most of them
story
are
out
chicken
there.
shits.
The NRA can throw out there and say, look,
As a
see,
parent, by
and
their
I'm
need
sure
to
they
take a
exist.
weapon to the grocery store.
Right.
I don't want to brag, but I go to the grocery store without being armed all the time.
That's super brave.
Thank you.
That's
I think so
super brave.
too.
You deserve a
So
glass of
brave.
wine.
I know. I don't like wine.
All right, guys. Do we have much else to say?
That's plenty, but I think we're good.
I think we're
Yeah.
done venting
I'm
for the
sure. I'm
moment.
sure we've alienated anybody who bothered to listen.
Look, y'all. Thanks for listening to American Dumpster Fire. We'll talk to you next time.
And if you agree,